Hey folks, Brother Casey here again, and we're continuing our study on You Better Be Glad. And we've talked about find our glad, discovering God at work in our life, in the past, in the present, definitely in the future, but we're discovering reasons that we should have thankfulness, reasons that we should be glad. And so today I'm going to turn over to Psalm. This is Psalm 107. Psalm 107, and I'm going to begin a little series within the series, okay? So we just finished up two motivations for finding our glad. That's mercy and grace. Now we're going to get into this idea of how we practice finding our glad. And can I say to you, there's just foundational idea that we've got to talk about. I've got to make a decision as far as finding my glad goes. I've got to make a decision that my feelings are not going to take the place of my discipline. Right? I mean, let me say that again. We've got to find a place where our feelings don't overcome our practices. Okay? So, for example, here's what I mean, if I can illustrate this. You ever wake up some mornings and you're just not feeling it? You say, I'm not feeling this. One day, no thank you. Well, what we have to understand is this. When Monday rolls around, we might not feel like going through Monday, but we can't let those feelings control our work, our actions all the time, right? I mean, what if you said, I'm never going to work until I feel like going to work. I'm never going to go to church until I feel like going to church. I'm never going to kiss my wife until I feel like kissing my wife. Here's the idea that if your feelings are driving everything that you do, you might not do some very important, healthy things. I'm only going to eat what I feel like eating. Uh-oh. So our feelings have to not overcome our discipline, our practices. Sometimes we've got to say, I'm going to do this even when I don't feel like it. Did you know? That in essence, that's the thread of thankfulness that runs through the Bible. The Bible describes thankfulness, being glad, expressing your gladness, not as a feeling necessarily, but it's a command. It's a practice for us. Let me give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Psalm 107, and we're going to begin reading Psalm 107, verse 21 and 22 will be our verses for today. Psalm 107, verse 21. Let them thank the Lord for his steadfast love. You kind of wonder about that language. Is that a recommendation? Hey, you should possibly. Or is that more of a instructive language? Let them thank the Lord for his steadfast love. They should thank the Lord for his steadfast love. It goes on. Let them thank the Lord for his steadfast love, for his wondrous works to the children of man. Those are reasons to be glad. Verse 22, watch this. And let them offer sacrifices of thanksgiving. I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about what it means to offer a sacrifice of thanksgiving. What I want to emphasize to you today here is this. That's not a suggestion. It sounds like that's really instruction. The psalmist is telling us we should offer sacrifices of thanksgiving. Now, hear this other one. It says also in verse 22, and tell of his deeds. We know that's a thread in the Bible. How do we advance this good news of Jesus Christ? We must tell. We've not got a feeling to tell. I feel like telling you about Jesus. No, but the idea is we're instructed. So here we're instructed to tell people of God's goodness. Be thankful in telling. And this is the one that, now I'm going to struggle with this one because of my skill set, right? And tell of his deeds in songs of joy. So one of the main ways that we're instructed to tell God thank you is that we're supposed to sing to him. We're supposed to sing, make music to God. So we see there's sacrifices being made, there's deeds that are being proclaimed, things being said, testimony being given, and also there's songs being sung. Why? Because we are instructed to give thanks in everything to God. Remember that verse from Ephesians? We're supposed to give thanks in everything to God. How do we practice that? Well, it gives us a couple of ideas here. It tells us in Psalm 107 we should definitely sing. We should definitely tell. We should definitely make sacrifices. So let me run through 3 quick points for you. You ready? How can we begin to practice finding gladness in our lives? First, it's very important, and this comes, you can look up Philippians 4:8 if you would like to, but I believe that it's essential for us. We've got to begin filling our minds with the right things. You know, when we fill our minds with negative things, we fill our minds with gossip, we fill our minds with dark things, we fill our mind with evil things, we fill our mind with discouraging news, perhaps. Here's what happens. We begin to think that there's nothing to be glad about. So the Apostle Paul writes again, Philippians 4:8, and he tells us you should fill your mind with things that are pure and good, things that are noble, that are trustworthy, things that are worth thinking about. 2, we also have to bring our feelings to God. We have to, and this is what James would say, James 4:7, he says that we submit ourselves to God. We resist the devil, and when we do, the devil flees from us. So how does that pertain to our feelings? Well, sometimes we wake up and our circumstances or whatever's going on in us or around us, it says, hey, you're not feeling it. Don't be glad today. Don't express your gladness. Don't sing of gladness. Don't make a sacrifice of gladness. And the Bible tells us, actually, we have to be disciplined to take those feelings to God and say, hey, God, I'm not feeling like it today, but I give it to you. And I know that this is what you've instructed me to do. Help me do the things that I'm supposed to do so that I can be healthy with gladness and thanksgiving in my life. Instead of just doing the things that I feel like doing. I submit this to you, God. Don't let Satan get a hold of me and tie me down. 3rd thing, we also have to form a plan to do glad. To do glad. I mean, this is what sacrifices are all about. Sacrifices, we're going to talk about this in a future devotion, but sacrifices means what? It's not me doing what I feel like doing, but it's me making a sacrifice so that other people could know about the goodness of God. Have you done that? You know that I believe God could use you and use me today to actually do things that would be against how we're feeling. But if we're disciplined to let God use us and we say yes to God, I think that he could lead us all into the path of someone that we could maybe give them a little bit of gladness, a little bit of hope, a little bit of something positive today. So I hope that's how God will use you. I hope that you'll let God use you that way today. Hey, God bless, and I hope that you have a great week going out and looking for glad, finding glad, and celebrating the goodness of God in your life.